because I was muted for a second. How you guys doing tonight? All right, as you guys can tell, I've got my anime shirt on. If you know who this is, comment below. I might send a $5 cash app for who gets it right. So y'all let me know. All right, so for tonight, we're going to have some amazing guests. I'm excited, but even if we're not, it's going to be probably me and Miss Brandi holding it down tonight for the episode for anime. Tonight, we're going to be discussing a lot about anime shows, my favorite shows, her favorite shows, and who knows, we probably get into some other great topics regarding anime. So, not going to let you guys hold up any longer. I am going to bring Miss Brandi Brown on. Hi, Miss Brandi.
How are you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today again.
I'm glad to be back.
Yes, it was so great. I forgot to ask you, where are you located? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, we
Can
kind
you
of
hear
lost
me?
you just for a second, but I can hear you now. Yes.
Yes, I'm based in Maryland, near DC.
Maryland. Okay. So, do you run into a lot of content creators out there?
Yes and no. When I'm in areas where content creators would be, but I'm a mom and a family woman, so going to the grocery store, going to work, I'm very business oriented. So yes.
Absolutely. Same for me. I'm a mom too of two, single mom, trying to hold it down for us ladies, trying to be
Yeah,
strong out here.
of course. Yeah, I know how that goes.
Absolutely. So I'm really excited for tonight because I talk anime a lot, even at my job. I talk with my kids, friends. A lot of times my friends call me. I'm in the midst of watching a anime. Right now, I'm going through Naruto Shippuden. I'm probably like
Hmm.
around 330 episodes.
Hmm.
I binge watch. I'll watch it all day, all night. I'll go to work sometimes and might take a peek here and there during lunch, just to
Yeah.
kind of keep up with everything. How about you? Is that how it is for you when you get into a good anime?
Yes. So I used to be worse. When I was in middle school, I used to not like waiting. So when things like they used to upload stuff on the internet, I remember I binge watched Sailor Moon, the entire series, every season for about a week, and I didn't sleep. And it was during the summer, and that was the most stupidest thing I did. And then Higurashi binged it for like a whole week, and then I was like, "This is amazing." I'm also exhausted.
No, I feel you because for me, I really go crazy. I will be exhausted and tired, and sometimes I'll get frustrated with my kids when they want to talk to me, and I have to read sometimes the subtitles because it's not in English. So for me,
Mhm.
I really get into it. So what I've noticed is the type of animes that I started getting into were the ones that were on Netflix. I started with those. My very first anime was Naruto when I was diving back into the whole world of nerdom, and
Mhm.
absolutely loved it. I feel like that is a great start for anyone who wants to get into anime. Check out Naruto, only because like it really starts to you start to see life differently for um, him as someone who was kind of like shown like wasn't really popular, that was kind of like disliked by his town, and how he just had this innate ability inside of him to say, you know what, doesn't matter what you guys think, doesn't matter what you guys say, I'm going to be Hokage one day, and it took him a while to really understand that, and it really took amazing friends, and I apply that to life. I took Naruto's processes and everything he went through and the struggles and the triumphs. And I really processed that in my life. And I enjoyed watching the first just Naruto, not Naruto Shippuden. That's a little different. But I mean, it's the same, but it kind of goes deeper into all of the sub characters that is associated with him. Are you familiar? I'm sure you are with Naruto.
Yes, I used to be the biggest fan when it first came out. Um, I really enjoyed Shippuden, minus the fillers. I was really not feeling all these. I'm not a filler fan. I'm not a beach episode fan. None of it. But yeah, I love it. I think my favorite character had to have been probably anybody on the Akatsuki. Honestly, I wasn't really feeling the main cast after a while. I liked Neji. I liked Hinata. I felt like I was very upset because I had a lot of headcanons. I wanted certain people to be together, but I felt like it was rushed.
I can understand that. I liked the development plot of not knowing who Naruto's family was, like who his dad
Mm,
was. Like to me, there was such a huge mystery behind him, but yet there was such a huge future in front of him. It was something that I just felt like I connected with instantly. I really enjoyed being able to like start peeling off the layers that Naruto's show had to offer. My favorite character, obviously, is Naruto because he's an overcomer. You know, he
mhm,
overcomes every obstacle. He dives in head first. But what really mattered to me is that he internalized a lot of his friends, feelings. Like
mhm,
if his friends felt some way or some type of way, or even if it was a stranger and you were hurting that person for no reason, he just had this innate ability to just say, you know what? Who told you that you could trample all over them? Who said that? And
mhm,
he found this fire out of nowhere to like destroy his opponents just off the sheer ability to just have empathy. And that is something people need to start paying attention to even in our day and age today because we have so much stuff that comes at us all the time between social media, TV, COVID. Um, the empathy I feel like is being left behind, and we're not really able to really get in touch with our emotions because we're so desensitized. And
mhm.
I really, really enjoyed that with Naruto. Was there any life lessons you learned in that show?
Well, before I hit that, to piggyback off what you're talking about with empathy, I think it's really interesting because I don't know how far you are yet, but
Yeah.
the show really delves a lot into how he grew up. And, not only when he was a kid, but as an infant and how he was raised by the previous Hokage and how he basically lived by himself and had like people taking care of him, and he never really had a family aspect. And the more you get deeper into the series, you realize you saw he was lonely in season 1, but you really get a good grasp of how lonely he really was as you move throughout the show. And it really shocks me that someone who went through that, similar to even of Gara,
Hmm.
his loneliness, who could actually, grasp empathy in that, sort of thing. Because normally when people are lonely, they're very selfish. They want to have, a lot more attention from other people, etc. But as far as, life lessons, um, I think because I started watching it in middle school, and it really helped me a lot with a lot of things because I learned a lot from Hinata. Hinata really stuck with me because she didn't become who she was meant to be into Shippuden. And that really stuck with me because I really used to be frustrated because I wanted to be me now. This
Yeah.
I really wanted it. And I just it wasn't in grasp. I was going through high school. I got to college, couldn't graduate, couldn't figure
Right.
out why I couldn't find out my purpose. And then now I'm here.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that was my life lesson.
Oh, that's
Sometimes
amazing.
it takes a minute.
I love that. And it's interesting that you gravitated to Hinata because she was one of the ones that was very, very introverted. Like you
Hmm.
didn't get a lot from her. And she so badly wanted to be good. And I love that this is something that I found to be amazing about Naruto is that everyone found more purpose for themselves by being associated with him and his drive. Like I think what he had to offer everyone was the willpower to overcome any situation. Like I noticed people would think about him in their moments of like almost defeat and be like, you know what? If Naruto could overcome this, I can overcome this. And they're remembering some of the things like, believe it,
Hmm.
and just
Yeah.
being able to like really internalize because he had an energy with his presence. And I really resonated with that because I feel like that's how I walk in life. I walk with an energy. I walk with this type of like, nothing's going to stop me from reaching the top and I'm going to get there. And I just absolutely loved it. A lot of the life lessons I learned from Naruto was really the inward man, like controlling your chakras, meditating, having a really good healthy diet, having really good people around you to give you sound advice. Um, Being able to discern, having good discernment was very important. And then you have to have a very strong spirit to be able to conjure any type of energy from fire to wind to electricity. So it really makes me think on a metaphysical level that our bodies could access those things because we only use about 20% of our brain, if that, right? So it really has me thinking on a metaphysical level. And it really helps me kind of go through life a little bit easier because it's like, you know what? I know there's something more. I know there's something beyond this frequency that I'm dealing with. And to connect with really great people and to be able to vibe with really great people, I find that a lot in this nerdum.
I agree with you. Even if you're caught in a genjutsu, you can't just escape.
Yes.
You have to have good mental strength. And I remember there's only certain people in that show who have the strength to do that. You know what I mean?
Yes. Lardy Miss Clardy, for all y'all who don't know, that's my mother. She is my number one fan, and I am hers. Thank you, Mom. I love you. She says, "Wow, yes, that's powerful. Yes, it is more. It is more, and you're doing it. Thank you, Mom. I love you, and that's awesome for you to recognize that too, because I see that in you. I kind of get that from you because you're very powerful. So I like for me, it's a soul searching aspect when it comes to anime. So when I started, Naruto was really a good one that I started with, and I really
Mhm.
started I had a really great platform to start with just to be able to boost off. Now, I don't know everything. I haven't read all the mangas. I'm only in 336 in the Shippuden for Naruto. But however, I don't like reading subtitles because it's hard for me to multitask and be like, wait a minute, what did I just miss? So do you get that frustration too sometimes?
Um, so I actually am the opposite.
Oh,
So whenever I watch anime, right? I never want to just walk around and listen to it. I like to sit down and read the subtitles only because I feel like it has more of an emotional punch when
mhm.
you hear it in Japanese versus when you hear it in English. I feel like when I'm listening to it in English, I'm watching like a 90s Cartoon Network show like Powerpuff Girls. It doesn't really hit as much as I would like. And a lot of anime, you notice you can self insert yourself into it. You feel like very personalized with a lot of shows. And whenever I listen to it in English, I'm just like, okay, this is clearly a comedy versus this is serious or this is relatable.
And you know what? You make a great point in that because I do agree with you. That's why I'd be so frustrated when I'm like, I can't do something else because I feel like if I didn't read what happened, I completely am lost. And I know what I saw, but I didn't really fully grasp it. So
You
I have
want to be careful with that. because you could like be watching JoJo Bizarre Adventure season what 2,
Uh-huh.
and you look away for 2 seconds, you miss an entire scene. Now you're wondering how did that happen? I remember I was watching it with my spouse, and I was just like, how did the villain die? He was like, oh, you turned around too much, and I was just like, it was only 2 seconds, and so you literally rewind and you look back, and you're just like, that happened in 2 seconds.
Two
I missed
seconds.
that. 2 seconds.
Wow. And then on top of that, it's like with what they're saying and what is happening, sometimes you get, like you said, you get a deeper understanding of what is going on when you hear it in their other language
Mhm.
and you read it in English and you see it. It be so profound. Sometimes I have to pause and be like, wow, that's crazy. Like it really gets me. So I'm really excited for, continuing on in Naruto Shippuden. But I haven't gotten to Baruto yet. I haven't done that yet, but
Don't
it's
watch
okay.
it.
I'm gonna get there.
Have
Not where
you
I'm
gotten to the part yet where they talk about the Akatsuki more deeply? I don't want to give you away too
at.
spoilers about Kakashi's old friend.
Ooh, I might not have gotten there
I'm
yet.
not going to say any more. I'm not going to say any. That's why I really like the Akatsuki. The Akatsuki get icing on the cake.
You, well, I thought the Akatsuki was interesting, and it really had me thinking about the levels of strength in people's powers and abilities. And I couldn't believe, like, I seen where mostly all of Akatsuki was dismantled, you know, and and I seen the fight between Itachi and um,
Sasuke,
Sasuke. Thank you. I was thinking Sakura, but it's
have
Sasuke.
fun.
And and I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is crazy!" And then for him to die, okay, I feel like I'm giving some things away, but hey, it's
Everybody,
old.
no worries, no
Yeah,
worries.
I was about
Everybody,
to say, like, it's old. Okay? You've been watching this since like middle school, and I'm just kind of like, dang, I'm just now getting into it, but it's okay. Um, to see how his brother had died, this was powerful for me. And like, how he hit him in his head because he always remembered that. I don't know if that was like a trigger or what, but I thought that was kind
it
of
was. It was kind of like it's kind of like it was a genjutsu thing. It was
okay.
whatever. But yeah, that he needed to do that to like, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And so when he died and for the revelation to come to him about his brother actually loved you and he did this to make you stronger, that is crazy. Itachi was incredible mentally wise. Like there would be no way I could hold that up all of these years.
yeah,
There's be no way to be my brother's villain, knowing how much he loved him, but he was doing it to make him stronger, to prepare him for the next level. And the fact that he had to go through so many mind crazy between being there for his clan, but being there for his, for his
the,
town,
yeah. And
Yeah, for his
he's been doing this since he was like in elementary school, and so it has been indoctrinated in him. And for him to, he had to put his family in the grave to make sure that they weren't doing evil stuff for this for the town, and that's deep.
hugely deep. Like I couldn't believe it. I was like, yo, I wouldn't know what to do. Not only had he killed off his whole clan, but he killed his mother and his father. Like, what?
And
And
when
then he,
you look back at it, they were just like, you got to do what you got to do. Keep pushing. I was just like, oh,
and I just was, and then I'm still trying to figure out the whole Madura. I can't really say his name.
yeah.
He's one of the clan members that
I
he's
mean,
a,
I could tell you.
huh?
I could tell you.
You can, because I'm still gonna watch it.
Oh, well, that's there. It's kind of like a distant relative, and it kind of without giving too many spoilers, Madar is like their like 5, 6, 7 great grandfather or whatever that started the clan. Him and his brother, and they it was a whole big thing. And he's currently using a lot of extra stuff to stay alive.
Okay. So I don't want to make this all think about Naruto, but Naruto is a great place to start. I feel like if you don't know where to start, I feel like that's a great place to start because there's just so many life lessons. There's so many great things there, and he's got a lot of episodes. So I feel like that's a great place to start.
Oh yeah.
Give me one of your favorite animes that you kind of like started in.
Ooh. So started with.
Yeah, that is kind of something that like sits with you that you can't like part with.
Okay, so when I first started, some that really stuck with me. I was addicted to Zatch Bell. I love Zatch Bell. I liked um, Case Closed. I like murder mysteries. Again, I think I said it earlier. I love Danganronpa and Phoenix Wright. They were
Uh,
also animes. Um, I really was addicted to Higurashi. I really loved it. Anything horror, I loved. Yeah, that's what it was for me. If we're talking about the big three, like One Piece, Bleach, and Naruto, I was more drawn towards Bleach. Um, Even though
okay.
I love Naruto, I would say Bleach was my number one. But I watched a lot of niche stuff, and yeah. So anything with a good storyline that doesn't have a lot of like filler or beach episodes,
Yeah.
what it was for me.
I was told to try to get into One Piece, and I normally can judge if I'm gonna like something in the first episode.
Yeah.
And One Piece just did not resonate with me. I don't know if it was the pirates or just the storyline that I was getting. It just was not something I was interested in. Maybe I got to give it another chance. I don't know. But
Well, that's the thing with the One Piece community. I feel like they're a cult, like the Dragon Ball Z community. Like, oh, just keep watching, and I like Dragon Ball and I love it, but at the same time, when it came to One Piece, and I learned it later, so I don't like One Piece, and that's because one, because of the artwork. Two, I don't like things that go on unnecessarily long, and then three, apparent, because I'm a big storyline person. I'm story before um everything else. So when I got into it, I was just like, okay, so when is he going to become the pirate king? Like Naruto wants to be the Hokage. When is he supposed to get to the Grand Line? Like
right.
where's the story development? And then I was talking to my spouse, and he was just they were just like, it's the adventure.
Hmm.
And they were like, yeah, it's the adventure. And I was just like, so the whole show is the adventure, it's bonding. And they were like, yeah. And I was just like, I'm not going to sit there for that. I'm going to sit for bonding the anime.
Absolutely. What's up, so Debonair? That is my boy. We have another podcast on Saturdays called the Saturday Morning Brunch Crew on YouTube at 1 p.m. I got some good news to tell you after I get off of the live today, but I just wanted to say hey to him. He's amazing, super great support, and an amazing guy. And he has an awesome show called the So Debonair Show, and he's amazing. So wanted to say hi to him. Thank you for coming. Um, yeah, so I really don't have much to say about One Piece because I really didn't get into it. Another one I tried to look into, but I just didn't give it too much more time because I was really interested in some other animes, was One Punch,
One
the
Punch,
bald guy.
I like it, but their power dynamic I wasn't feeling.
Hmm.
Um, Hated that you had somebody who could destroy all the villains. I didn't like it. But I just found out that the manga took a sharp right, and now there's an actual deeper story.
Hmm.
And so hopeful. Because I was just like, so is this one of those fighting animes where all they do is fight? Like, what's that series that just came out on Crunchyroll? Um, Anybody in the comments could probably figure out, but it's basically those three kids and they're in a fighting competition. And I was just like, so is this fighting the anime? Kind of like
Right.
Baki, but I love Baki.
Okay. I've
Yeah.
actually that's on my list to look at. Baki is on my list.
I think you'll like it. It's hilarious. If you like grown men, destroying each other with fascinating moves and a father who doesn't care about his son, then it's right up your alley.
That sounds like Seven Deadly Sins to me.
Except Seven Deadly Sins is terrible, but I'm not going to go down that road on this
Oh
podcast.
my gosh, we're not gonna go down that path because I enjoyed it. I thought it was really
Really?
great. I did. I enjoyed the dynamic from Meliodas and what he was doing. It took me a minute to really understand what was going on as far as why is he, what is his purpose? You know what I mean? Like you see him just walking down the street. He's like careless, he's like,
Yeah.
and he's all little, so you wouldn't expect much from him, right?
Hmm.
But he's a super perv. So if you got
Yeah.
big boobs in the butt, he is on you, okay?
Yeah.
So I really like Seven Deadly Sins. So that's what that sound like to me. So it sounds like something. I'm really into like sci-fi fantasy too. So I love just fantasy, period. Another one of my favorites was Hunter x Hunter.
Gold. Gold.
We gotta
Yes.
go. We
Yes.
gotta go.
I watched that was another series in high school that I binged for like 2 weeks and didn't sleep. That was horrible of me. My parents were just like, Brandi, you have school. And I was just like, I'm an honor roll student, whatever. Um, but never go, anime is not that important, you guys.
Right. They don't understand it, right?
They don't understand. Well, for me, what drew me in again was story. And you always want to know what the heck was going on. Like first
Right.
season, why the heck are they doing this competition? What why is this clown guy following the main like what are you, a pedophile? And then I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, huh?
I thought that. I thought he was a pedophile.
Yeah, because I was
Complete.
just like, so, but I wanted to figure it out. And then they never disappoint. And I remember, did you watch it all?
All of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was just like, I kept trying to figure out. I was just like, how high on this list of deadbeat dads is his dad? Like, I'm just like, the
Right.
last thing came up, and I was just like, you just don't care at all. You're just like, oh yeah, I had a kid. Oops, have fun, son. Like, it kind of felt like a Pokemon thing. Like, okay, son, have fun on your worldwide adventure at 10. And I'm
Define
just like,
me.
what?
He knew. I think he knew his son was going to look for him. And that's why, he left all these little clues here and there. And it's really not until later on where the clues start really showing up. I thought the dynamic of, all of the characters from the professor guy, he was really weird to me. He was like, he felt like the only adult. Did you get that feeling too?
You talking about the guy who became a doctor that liked money? Yeah, because he felt so out of place. Like I was watching him, I was just like, so are you here for? You're just here for the possibility that you get money.
That part. That part.
And I think my favorite season, and a lot of people might criticize me on it, but I will rewatch it 25 times every because I cried and I felt it. It was the Chimera arc. And I remember everybody was like, oh, he's a horrible villain. I cried. With the little blind girl, cried.
Oh.
He killed the cat chick.
Uh-huh.
You deserve it.
Wow.
But yeah, that was my favorite season. Yeah, and I'm sad that the mangaka is sick, so he
Mm.
can't finish the manga. That's so sad. And I think his wife was the Sailor Moon creator, so I think that's
Wow.
cool. And if you notice in the manga, there has been certain parts where they included each other's work. So you might see a Greed Island game, or you might see, a Sailor Moon figure. And I think I really liked Kilo's family. I really liked when they were introducing the assassins. Um,
Really?
the sibling with the mask. I
Mm-hmm.
like how they really brought the idea of transgender to the screen,
Mm.
and how it never really was discussed, but you knew that they were most likely transgender. And, I liked how Killua loved his sister no matter what. His family was like, look, we gotta go kill her because she's killing people. And he's like, no, 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 let me handle it. But, I really, I really like the family dynamic other than wanting to kill her. But yeah.
Yeah. And like with Gon, he had that same kind of like feel from Naruto. He
Yeah.
had that like you couldn't really take away his joy.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was just like really inspiring because he literally like during that whole I guess exercise type contest,
Hmm.
I really liked how he was able to group a lot of people, well, those few people into his little friends, and they actually came to a place where they were like protecting him. And not to kind of fast forward too far
Yeah.
to the end, but to see how everyone has gravitated to Gon throughout his whole process, and he's just been on top. And he's just this little guy. He's just this little guy, right? And how they treated his dad was the
Yes.
funniest. Like the funniest. They was so mad at him for letting his son just walk out of there without him recognizing or doing like embracing him at all. That he was like, "You are horrible." It was so funny.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. And I know he whooped all their tails in there too. I felt like he was in there kicking everybody's butt
Oh,
once. Crazy, right?
yeah. I think it's cool how they are very they call everybody out on their baloney. They're just like, get your stuff together. And like you were saying, how Gone brought everybody together. I like how I like that, but I also like that they were able to be like, hey, Gone, kind of like in One Piece, which
Yeah,
I kind of respected for. They were able to be like, look, Gone, love you, you're my brother, I want to travel with you, but I got stuff I got to take care of. I got to go heal for a second. I got to go figure out why my family, my I want to go to college, or I need to deal with my family's curse or whatever,
yeah.
you know. And they were able to come back, and I felt like that just made them stronger friends.
Absolutely. I love how Gon wasn't going to accept that his boy was practically in trouble,
Mhm.
going back home, possibly looking at some type of, reformation that was bad. And he wanted to
Yeah,
go save him. He was like, that's my friend. I'm going to go. And I love that. Like, that's a friend. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And he went through just to get to the house. You know how those levels was to get to the
yeah,
house, to open up the gates alone and to find out what Killua did opening
yeah,
up the gates. Like, what? He was that strong?
yeah.
What?
And they're
So,
good friends. I think. Well, sometimes you got to really look at some things, because sometimes I think like Killua actually has like a crush on Gon, but I think that Gon is very oblivious. And I only think about these things because I have a very I really like Yowie, but a lot of people were just like, yeah, 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 Killua feeling Gone. But I feel like Gone is so pure that he's just
mhm.
like, yeah, that's my best friend.
Yeah, like he inspired him so much to is like you have nothing but love for him. Like for me, like even with okay, is it Hizuka? Hizuka?
Yeah, the clown.
The clown.
Yeah,
Clown. He would get overwhelmed. Like like euphoria would like take over him when he sees Gon, being at his best. And he's like, oh my
yeah,
God. But the whole goal for him is to fight him. He wants to fight him, possibly even kill him. But then I think the narrative changes towards the end,
yeah,
for Izuka. I think it's more so that he wants to see him win. He doesn't want to like take him out as much as he did from the
yeah.
beginning.
He
And
just
I thought
feels
it
like
was
he's a good opponent
yes, yes.
in
And
a
I think
couple
he
years.
and because
Yeah, and
everyone
also,
was afraid of
go ahead.
him.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was saying everyone was afraid of Hizuka, because he was a strong opponent as well.
Yeah, and I really liked his relationship with Killua's brother.
Hmm.
His group, they were really close. Um, anything could pop off, and they'd be like, "Okay, you messing with my boy?"
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they were
Um,
villains, but that's
I thought part of Hunter x Hunter towards the end where there was like, that the whole Chimera ant
hmm
situation. To me, I felt like it feels like two different shows to me when I think back on it because I'm like, was that the same show? Because
yeah,
it kind of like branched off of Gone and it focused on this development of this Chimera ant from this species going into, she was pregnant trying to
Mhm.
feed, and she started feeding on different species such as fish or whatever, and so whatever she birthed became that, right? So
Mhm.
she started feeding on these kids, her
Mhm.
first taste of human blood, and she was like, "Oh my god, I got to have this." So like when it just kind of like shifted into that, I really felt like it was like a completely different show. What did you think about that?
So yeah, I felt the same way. I felt like it went off into left field, but I think it was necessary. I
Mm,
think the author wanted gone to go from being that happy-go-lucky, free-spirited boy who could conquer anything, and to begin to have some depth. And I think the reason why he wanted that, because I know in the next couples, I know what's supposed to happen is there's supposed to be like some hard things happening for him. And I think, well, obviously the mangaka is sick,
right.
but I think he needed that in order to be mentally prepared for what is to come. And you know, to be in a position where your essential godfather was killed, and that was the only family figure next to, I think, what his aunt was raising
Yeah,
him.
yeah,
Sad, and now he feels more alone in the world. I think at that time he didn't know his father.
yeah.
um, it's just sad, and I felt like that was probably the only way for him to be mentally prepared for whatever the manga was about to write next, because he
Right.
had to grow up somehow in this hard world.
You're right, because you do notice that he's just becoming stronger mentally,
Mhm.
stronger physically, and with his friends, he really had this kind of like protection around him. But when
Mhm.
everyone kind of went off into their own path, and he ended up running into his dad's, like, I guess his dad's student, he felt like he had a stepfather in a way, a mentor that was the closest thing to his dad. And when he died, that hurt me. I think that's between that and what happened to Canary was like the two things that really touched my heart. And then, of course, the Chimera Ant relationship with the blind girl too was really
Yeah.
sensitive as well. I thought that it kept me intrigued. But when I think back on it, I always separate sometimes
Yeah.
that whole Chimera Ant plot and build up as a completely different show, and I sometimes forget it because I see why they went that direction because they wanted to tell that story on how this Chimera Ant King became very was able to change the direction that he was supposed to go
Mhm.
from when he was born. What his goal was technically to pretty much kill off all humans.
Yeah. Which is funny because if you compare him to, say, his wife, who
Hmm.
made Sailor Moon, if you actually watched the old series, it's not just about, girls, transforming. They both have a knack for showing real emotional change and showing someone going from naivety to someone
Yeah,
who is emotionally mature due to a circumstance.
yeah.
And it's deeper. Like, I don't know if you watched the end of Sailor Moon,
I
but
haven't, but I've watched so many episodes of them because that was one of my favorite shows. But I haven't watched the end yet.
do you mind if I speak on it for like 2 seconds?
Absolutely.
So in the last season, and I only remember this because again I binge watched it for like 2 weeks and didn't sleep. She kept the main prince, Sailor Moon. She kept dying and
Yeah,
dying,
yeah,
re-seeing her friends die, and saw her daughter die, see her husband die, and she had to go through that in order to defeat the main villain, and it was deep.
yeah.
And I didn't think anybody could really pull it off. It's very difficult to show emotional growth, and they both kick butt at that.
Yes. And I love that you connected that because if you realize there are a lot of animes that you can find similar like I guess inspirational type storylines that kind of really that really grabs us, and that really like sits in our spirit. So I'm glad you said that because I am going to go back. I think what I'm going to do this weekend. No, not this weekend because I'm going to Atlanta. So not this weekend, but next week, I think I'm gonna go and start binge watching the whole thing so I can, I've kind of stopped, came back, went to other animes and stuff because I kind of do that just to kind of like, oh, I know this because I've watched it as a youth, but
Mhm.
I'll come back. But I want to finish it up so I can actually have a dialogue with a couple ladies on Sailor Moon because I think it's important for us to discuss some of these female anime shows because for one, I would like to talk more about the colorism that's in animation, in these animes and in manga, but we're not going to get into that. So I want to touch on it. I have two more animes that I want to touch on. One of them is Attack on Titans.
Okay.
Have you have you seen?
So I remember I watched the first season and I was just like, oh my gosh, this is, it started out great, a
Yeah.
huge punch. And I think I watched a little bit of season 2 and I was like, this is so boring. And I remember I stopped for a second and then all of us, like, it wasn't boring, but I wasn't getting my story itch that I needed. And
Yeah.
so then I remember a lot of people coming on and be like, oh my gosh, it just got so much better all of a sudden. And yeah. But when I get to that point, I normally say, I'm just going to read the manga or I'm just going to watch YouTube videos about it. And essentially, I got caught up pretty fast. And I was just like, oh, it got deeper.
Absolutely. Like we're in season 4. I don't know if it's ended yet because I haven't checked out the episode from Sunday.
Yeah.
But I binge watched it up until the end of season 3, right before they started season 4, and I was like super happy because it was like, oh yes, I get season 4. But the sad part about getting to season 4 is that you don't get to binge watch every single episode anymore. You have to wait every week for another one, and I hate the cliffhangers because I'm like, no, you just can't leave me like this, right? So season 4 is phenomenal. I mean, there's so much action. There's so many plot twists in there that I'm like, oh my gosh, Aaron, what are you doing? Like, what's happening here? I am confused. You weren't supposed to be this guy, and now you're this guy. And it's just like, I mean, everyone is contemplating their place in Aaron's life, from brother to best friend to even Mikasa, who's like, I mean, he destroys her emotionally. Like, she was already kind of quiet, she was already kind of reserved. You saw that from season 1, how she was just kind of following along, but she was strong. When he
Hmm.
was getting into fights, she would come like, oh no, here comes Misaka, she's gonna kick your butt, okay, because Misaka was a strong fighter, and that's because of her bloodline. But I really like, what I like about Attack on Titans is the action. I love the action. I'm not so much for all the blood and the real like gruesome stuff from these Titans, but when you find out in season, I believe 2, on how these Titans were produced, or maybe it was 3, I'm not sure exactly, but I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm hurt. Like, I can't believe, like, you would think people would do this to other people, knowing that their blood could do this to them. You're going to do it and you think it's funny. Like the gentlemen that were doing that to the people creating these Titans, I really hated them. And I was so happy when that guy got kicked down into that sand pit
Hmm.
on that island and he got ate. I was happy about that because he thought it was just funny. And to know that he's changing people's lives by doing that. Those people on that island had no clue that this is what these people were. They were actual people like them. And they would have never known that if it wasn't for Aaron having to go over there, connecting with his brother Zeke and being able to, find out more. I mean, the guy literally lost an arm and a leg.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because again, going back to the creator specifically came out. A lot of people were just like, he's so edgy. He made it because he wanted to show what it felt like for him to be bullied in like high school. And so
Wow.
it's funny how the series does such a great job with showing multiple sides of it. So
Right.
you have, the series flipped on its head. You thought, oh, the Titans are the bad people, and then it flipped. And then
Yes.
now like, oh, the people are the bad people. And then you're just learning more and more depth. And I like how he took a simple topic like bullying, expanded it, and put
Mhm.
it into a story narrative where you learn about, what goes into it. And
Yes,
you start off with such simple themes and it becomes a masterpiece.
absolutely. And that's what I love about it too. Like it literally unpeeled layers throughout the seasons, and I was not expecting these cliffhangers. I was not expecting that. Like I wasn't ready to find out that these titans were regular, Eldians being turned into these mindless man-eating titans. Um and to understand how these group of fighters, that have to go out here and, protect people or obtain certain things that they needed or even scout to find out what's going on, how many lives were just lost behind a mission. So many people die, and it makes me think, and I don't want to like make this a world thing, but it just really makes me think about what's happening in the world and how people are being killed through these reckless wars because of somebody doesn't like somebody, or somebody wants control of this, or they can't let go of what happened 200 years ago, so they want to enslave a whole future. You know what I'm saying? And I hate to say it, it really reminds a lot of me. It reminds me a lot of Black people too, on how we've been oppressed over these years and how they just won't let it go. But I'm not trying to make this a racial thing. I'm not a world thing, but this is what I say when I talk about anime. It really relates to life. It
Yep.
is, you can find so many life lessons in these animation characters in these shows, and I just really enjoyed watching Attack on Titans. It was a lot of action, a lot.
But it's interesting that you bring that up because a lot of blurs get a lot of hate because they say that we watch a lot of anime. Oh, why do you watch anime? It's for kids, it's a cartoon. What
Yes,
people don't realize is that there is a difference between Japanese animation and American animation. And that's because Japanese animation is essentially more for adults because they delve into narratives that not only make you think, but they make you also, and apply it to your life. They help you in a situation where you're going through a turning period in life. What do you need to become a better person? Here comes Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan, you may have needed that. I remember there are some animes, and I'm thinking of them now where I watched them, and I was just like, I needed that to get over this churning period, this growth spot, this I couldn't overcome it, and now I watched it, and now I'm a better person. And yeah, I think anime is needed more.
yes, and I really want people. This is why I'm doing this show tonight, because I really need people to understand, including my friends who always. I have friends that aren't into anime. They're like, "Girl, why are you watching anime, honey? Honey, you need to get into this, okay? Because this can show you some things about life that you're dealing with, like you
Mm.
said, to help you overcome, to help you get through the mental space that you're in those subjects." And I'm just telling you right now, Attack on Titan really hit a lot of narratives for me and what we're dealing with as Black people, what we're dealing with in this world, and how we just won't let go of the hate. We just won't let go of it, and we've got to put it on our children's children. And it's not fair to them because they didn't do it. They didn't have nothing to do with it. So
Mhm.
and then the narrative right now in Attack on Titans in season 4, they're really focusing on trying to either eliminate Eldians or eliminate Marlians at this point, because it's like it's either you or us, and it shouldn't be like that.
Yeah.
It shouldn't. And right now, the last episode I saw, Aaron just pretty much dispatched all of the Titans that were inside the walls, and I was like, all I see is just people sitting around looking at these Titans just tumble through the towns to get over there to get back onto the mainland to
I
start.
tell you this, that the writer for Attack on Titans, just like with I think JoJo season 1 and 2, has an impeccable talent for making the audience feel as hopeless as the characters in the show. I remember I watched season 1 and I was like, God dang, I guess I'll just die then. Because I sat there and I was just like, so what you're trying to tell me is we're really just, putting a band-aid on everything, and we can get bombed any day. We can get, whatever. And I was like, well, might as well just kill me now. And I think it was just really funny how, the author was able to make me feel that.
Right. He did. Like I felt horrible watching Aaron and Mikasa being carried away while Aaron's mom is about to be eaten by technically his dad's first wife.
Yeah.
What? You
That's
would never know that because you don't know that, but it's like, what is going on, right?
yeah.
So it leaves you all the time with impeccable suspense and a lot of like setbacks and a lot of like hand draws for me. Like, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened. So that's probably like my number two anime for me, and I definitely wanted to get your take on that. But my top anime that I just love it. I just love it. I be like my energy gets so pumped up when it's starting and I get so like, oh my god, oh my gosh. It's Demon Slayer.
Yes.
Huge fan. And it's only 2 seasons. I vowed never to watch anything that has less than 4 seasons because I can get through 2 seasons in like a night.
Well, that's what the author said. He was making it, and he was just like, he specifically was just like, this is not going to be long. It's going to be, this is the story. We're not dragging it out, and I respect that. I hate when shows are unnecessarily dragged out for money. I felt as though it stayed. I think it ended prematurely.
Yeah.
I don't like how they push Nezuko and the guy with the yellow hair together. I think it doesn't make sense. Other than that,
Zenitsu. Oh
I
yeah.
think everything else, huh?
Hated him. When I first seen season one, I didn't understand at all how he survived. At
Yeah.
all. How did you survive? What was it? A night or a few nights? It was a few nights that they were in there, right?
Yep.
This I think they had to. It's a test that they had, a competition test, and it was like over 300 kids that went into this like area where they had to fight off demons. But not to kind of throw y'all in there. I loved what really grasped me was his connection with his family.
Yep.
How they were poor as heck, guys. They had no money, but he was happy to help. He had a role to play in his family, and he was proud. He was proud of that. And to find his family after going out to make money, and come back from town to find his family the way he did, that was devastating for me.
Yeah.
But I absolutely adored how they were still with him in spirit and in times of hardship, like really, really bad times, like where he almost in season 2, he almost died. His brother was like, breathe, you need
Yep.
to breathe, because he was not playing. He was about to sever that girl. He was coming for throats. And
Yeah.
he had to breathe. A lot of the things that he was able to endure, and I'm just jumping around because I just love everything about Demon Slayer and how I just love the Nezuko and
Tanjiro.
Tanjiro story. Like
Hmm.
they are my favorite. I love
Yes.
them so much.
It's so precious.
It's just
What was your favorite fight? I know for me it was with the demon with the ball.
okay.
She's my favorite fight, I guess, of season 1. Season 2 is it's gonna get like real heavy, but I think that was my favorite fight.
Okay, so you got me thinking of season 1. I would have to say my favorite, and I'm gonna be honest with you, it's not even a fight. This also was like a life thing for me, is
Yeah.
when he was training on that mountain and
Hmm.
he had to cut that boulder. He went through 2.5 years of training to cut this boulder, okay? And his sister slept through the whole thing. And that meant to me that he had to go through this by himself. He did not have his sister there with him, and he had to overcome all of these different training techniques, and he had to learn a new technique, not knowing inherently he had a technique. So I think, and then when he was at his place where he just didn't know, I don't know what happened. I can't. It was season 1. I have to redo again. I probably
Mhm.
watched it 3 times, but I've been so engulfed in season 2. But for those spirits to show up,
Yeah.
and he really thought they were real, and then to defeat that monster, and he told them who they were, like that monster told him who those kids were, and he had no idea the whole time. And even the master never even told him when he mentions their name, he never told him that they were dead either. And he never, and I was mad at him, he never told him that he was technically sending him for the 50th child to his death if he didn't kill him.
Yeah.
Like that one was deep for me because that really took a whole spiritual turn for me, and to know that those kids was like teaching him how to cut this boulder, and he thought they were really there. Like that's deep.
I agree with you 100%. It was deep,
That's
big
deep. And
deep.
so, another fight for me, in season 1, now that I'm kind of recalling, is the one, I don't know what this demon is, but he was like going into like this, the liquid on the ground. He would go into and he would go in there and he would kill the girls in that, like he would take them. Okay, so women were disappearing in this town, and so Tanjiro had to go into this town and find this demon. And this
Mhm.
demon art was that he had, he was able to like create a puddle, and he was able to disappear in this puddle and come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean? Like come out of the side. And so he had to really get comfortable with his natural his natural instincts. Like you can't see, bro. You got to be of sound mind to
Mhm.
detect him. So I thought that was great, and that Nezuko came out and started kicking butt, and I was
Yeah.
loving that. And I was like, you better go,
Well, they're
Nezuko.
getting better at writing these female characters to not be damsels. Like the main female in Jujutsu Kaisen,
Yeah,
great. Nezuko, love it. I hate when you have these characters of women who are just assistant
yeah,
characters. Now they hold their own. Now they don't really need help. Um, and they have their own training and emotional, acceleration arcs.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And like, there are many other ones, like the one where he's fighting the lower 6 or the
Yeah,
lower 12, and where I thought he was completely about to be eliminated with the demon art of like the webs. And
yeah.
then he's got a sister, he's got Nezuko, because he was jealous of their relationship. He's like, I'm trying to build a family, creating a family, and it's not working for me. And I love what you naturally have, so I'm going to take your sister. And he's like, you're not taking my sister. And he's like going crazy. So he has her strung up like far up in the sky in the trees, and she's like strung up with all these weird, I guess, webs on her. And right in the moment where you think he's about to die, after he's just like cut through so much adversity with this guy, she wakes up. Like he did nobody knew this is her demon art. Nobody knew this demon art until then. So that one was a good one too. That fight was a good one.
I hear you on that one.
So
I
yeah.
agree.
I love Nezuko. Like even in season 2, even when she turns into this crazy demon to kill Donka, I mean, I love her. I love her. I love her. She's just. And then she started crying when he calmed her down after singing to her. She was crying. It was so sweet. So I know there's so much more that we can discuss, but this is only going to be an hour show tonight, guys. And I'm sorry to leave off on this high, but Miss Brandi does have other promises and things she has to do, and I don't want to keep her longer. But guys, I just want you to know I'll be back with more anime stuff. I'll have more content, more stuff to talk about, more names to drop, obviously. So, Brandi, I just want to say thank you so much. Please go ahead and give them your social medias so that way they'll be able to find you.
No, most problem, no problem. So you can catch me on Instagram or TikTok at the Audacious Black Femme. You can also check out our Kickstarter that's on my Instagram page. We also have a Facebook, but I'm more active on Instagram and TikTok. So that's me. That's my. I'm not good at using Twitter, so.
Yes, that is your spill. You also have a Kickstarter, and
Mhm.
you're looking to get funded to be able to provide experience-based booths at these cons for, mostly for promotion. If you can quickly just kind of give them an idea of what to expect at these booths, at these cons, that will help them be able to subscribe and pledge to your Kickstarter.
Most definitely. So whenever we have this, we normally have what happens at first is you agree with us. We take $300 up front, but don't fret. You think, oh, that's expensive, but this is what comes with it. You get a whole 3 months worth of conventions. We give you promotions. We give you assistance with our cosplayers. We put you on our website. We do product reviews. Then we take you to these conventions, and then we have such experienced sales team, and they interact with you, with the customers. They talk about your product, they hype it up, they wear it. There's a photo booth, there's giveaways. It's just a really exciting experience. And we did very well at KatsuCon. And we want to expand our experience. And so we started reaching out to a lot of special guests. One of our special guests I'll be on live with at 4 o'clock on our Instagram page. I think you don't want to miss this because they're going to be involved with our conventions. It is going to be very special. And if you guys have, products that you want to promote, let us know. We can talk about running your own booth, or you can be a part of a booth that we run ourselves and we'll promote multiple people in one setting. So just hit me up on Instagram and we can talk.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you so much, Brandi. It has been amazing talking with you. We probably could have did this a whole nother hour because I had like 4 other things we could discuss on animation on these animes, but
Well,
we
we'll
don't have.
talk again next time.
Absolutely, I would love to do it. Again, guys, check out our Kickstarter. It will be in the links here on this page. It's also on my interview with her, so check that out too. You can find that on Facebook, Black Girl Nerdy World Podcast. You can see that also on YouTube at Black Girl Nerdy World, and on Twitch, Black Girl Nerdy World. Can't say it enough. You will see her links in there for her Kickstarter. Listen, every dollar is appreciated. Just know that your dollar is not eliminated. Please, any dollar that you would like to pledge will help this become something amazing for the next person that is looking to get promotion for their content. You can even shoot people her way. Again, she is on Instagram, and on Instagram is where she has a lot of amazing content. And her Instagram is the Audacious Black Femme on IG. Okay, guys. Thank you so much, Miss Brandi. It has been such a pleasure again having you on the show. And I look forward into us speaking further more about this Kickstarter. I am going to pledge to it as well.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate seeing you again, and I appreciate seeing everybody part of this podcast. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Absolutely. Have a good night.
You as well.
All right, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for tonight. It is a little bit shorter from the one last week, which was my introductory podcast, which was, hey, Black Girl Nerdy World is here. I give you 2 hours of that, okay? Today is an hour, all right? But there's going to be more content. I've got new people coming on to the team. So if you'd like to try to add to this amazing podcast, please hit me up on IG. You can do Black Girl Nerdy World, Malele Sensei, or if you know my regular IG, which is Maanale_all day, it will be super helpful to be able to have you guys here. I do appreciate you guys so much. If you haven't subscribed, go to my YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button with your knuckle and hit that notification with your nose. And then comment and let me know you did it. And I am looking to start throwing some shout outs. I will start having some prizes. We'll start having some games soon, some interactive stuff with you guys. But right now, I just kind of wanted to bring you guys some of this anime because a lot of people always are asking me, like, why are you watching anime? This is why, because it's so freaking exciting and you guys should really check it out. And we've listed a bunch of great animes tonight, from Naruto, which is a great one to start with, to Demon Slayer, which is my favorite. So feel free to hit me up if you've got any questions. I've enjoyed this tonight. Honestly, I don't want to go, but I gotta go, and I'll be back with more next week. It's going to be on gaming. I'm a little nervous because that means I'm gonna have the game on live with you guys. So I'm a little nervous about that, but it's not where I'm at, it's where I'm going. That is my motto. I'm not perfect, but where I'm going is where I'm gonna be great. So thank you so much. You guys have a blessed Tuesday night. Thank you for being with me, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Love you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, YouTube and Twitch. Black Girl Nerdy World.